Y eso es con micrófono de mano, ¿no?
Con micrófono en mano, pero el micrófono está aquí. El micrófono debe estar aquí.
Ya está puesto ahí en el
No,
podio.
ahí.
O esto, ¿qué?
Esto te debe.
Hello.
Ahí está.
Got it. Gracias, hermano.
Sí,
Listo,
ese
conecto
anuncio te
esto.
pido el favor.
No
Que
te
todos
preocupes.
vayan entonces al otro lado cuando terminen.
A la plenaria.
Al keynote speak. Bueno, estaba hablando en inglés, te voy a decir que es the keynote presentation.
Vale, está bien.
Va a ser ahí. Él es social media. Gracias. Sí, yo creo que me vale.
Okay. Hello. Okay, hello. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing today? Can I have your attention, please? How are you doing, ladies? Ladies in the back. Gentlemen, we have 50-50. Very nice audience we have here today. I'm going to go ahead and start. This is going to be about 45 minutes. Before starting, I just want to let you know that right before at the end of this workshop, we can all go have lunch, go to the next room. There's going to be a keynote speech while we're having lunch all together there, and then we can go back to the other rooms. I'm going to have the same presentation later on at 1 in Spanish. So if you want to enjoy that too, you're more than welcome. I'm going to introduce myself really quick. My name is Nestor Bravo. I am the CEO of Bravo Media Corp. We're a digital expansion agency that's been working for around 9 years in the DMV area, helping businesses expand through digital marketing and video production. We also have like a media division where we do concerts, documentaries, music videos, and all that. I'm very passionate about storytelling and video production. And we have an agency of around 14 people specialized in different areas of digital marketing. I have a master's in digital marketing, so I love this. I'm very passionate about consumption, about the consumer psychology, and all of that. So I've prepared a pretty long slideshow. So I'll be speaking pretty fast, but I promise you that if at the end of this you have any questions, I'll be able to answer them. I'll be able to send you the presentation if you need it. So I'll tell you my social media. The only condition is you have to send me an inbox on my social media, and I'll go ahead and send you that presentation. I also want to go a little bit fast because I want to get to the last slide. In my last slides, I brought a workbook for you to take home, something very useful for you to actually work on your businesses today with a bunch of questions that are going to help you to determine if there's any voids, any things that you need to develop more in your business to be able to scale. Okay, does that make sense? All right, so we're going to start. And so I think, in this area of digital marketing, I've found a lot of people that don't necessarily know what digital marketing is, okay? And so digital marketing, I'll define it in a couple of slides. Does anybody know here, really quick, maybe one person who can tell me what digital marketing is? Anyone? Any concept that comes to your mind? No? All right, so besides the question of what digital marketing is, the other thing that I like to ask is what's the most difficult part of digital marketing? And I've done these presentations in other places, and people usually will tell me, well, making content, going viral, selling more products, selling more services. In my opinion, one of the hardest parts of digital marketing, it's not the technology, it's not the budget or the algorithm. It's how do you become different to everybody that's doing the same, right? And it says right here, in a sea full of fish, the challenge isn't swimming, it's being recognized. And that's really the most difficult part of social media, of digital marketing. When you have X amount of other businesses that do the exact same thing you do, how do you make sure that these businesses choose you, or the consumer chooses you over other consumers? And that's something that I intend to teach you here today. So the digital marketing, to talk about a definition, is basically the set of internet-based elements that working together will help your business grow in different fronts, right? First, in being recognized, being seen, being discovered, then creating community, making people, helping people follow you, then selling your product. After selling your product, actually helping people come back to you, always become recurring clients, and then recommend you, become ambassadors of the brand. That's actually, what you can achieve with marketing. In our agency, in Bravo Media Corp, over the years, over these 9 years we've been working with this, we've created a digital transformation map. If I were to give you the most value that I could give you today, and if you told me, Nestor, you have 15 seconds to summarize your whole presentation, I would tell you this. You need to do 5 things to succeed on the internet. And those 5 things are web and SEO, organic content, paid content, retargeting, and strategic partnerships. That's basically everything you need to do. And if you do all these 5 things, there's no way in the world you will not succeed. And let me explain a little bit of each of those. So when you talk about web and SEO, your website is the only thing that belongs to you on the internet. If you think about it, we actually, we have all these different platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, but all of those are free platforms, right? Why do I do the quote unquote? Well, they're free, but we pay it with our time. We pay it with our attention. But if, let's say tomorrow, Mark Zuckerberg gets into trouble, right? We find iffy things about Mark Zuckerberg, and Instagram and Facebook all go down. Can you imagine the amount of influencers and famous people that would lose everything that they have because everything they have is on those platforms? And that's the thing about the internet. The only thing that belongs to you on the internet is your website. It's your hosting. It's the files that make your website. And so having a website is the first thing you need to do, okay? Because it helps you tell people what you do. Your website should answer in less than 5 seconds what you do, who you help, and why. And if your website does that, most of your work is already done, because 90-something% of the people that convert into business will do it in your website. They'll create trust in your social media, but then they would want to come to your website and to a social media platform that I'll tell you in a little bit to convert that, all right? So that's the first pillar. When we go to the second one, the organic content is the soul of your brand, right? It's how you, what people know, remember, and share. How you get to connect with people in first instance, to then help them build that trust in that buying intention, that purchase intention from you, to then buying, coming back, like I said, on the first part. So the third pillar would be paid content. Elias, you have social media, right? How many followers do you have?
In total, well, not too many. I use more LinkedIn and YouTube as well.
Tell me a following count.
10,000.
10,000. All right, that's a pretty good following count. Any other that want to share with us? Regardless of the amount of followers you have, 500, 200, 30, 10,000. I, for example, have 20,000 followers on Instagram. But there's a thing that is designed within the engineering of these platforms, especially today. You only have an engagement of 5 to 10% of your followers. And you can say, right, every time you make a post, only 5 to 10% of your followers are seeing your posts. So in my case, I have 20,000. In my case, 1,000 people, sometimes, 500, 1,000. On a good post, 2 to 3,000. And that is something that is designed by nature. TikTok is the only platform right now that can give you really explosive engagement if you follow the rules of the game. But in general, you only have 5 to 10% of that engagement. So in order to be able to break into that roof, into that limit that these platforms are imposing on you, you need to go to paid content. And if you have good organic content and you pair it up with good paid strategies, either boosting or lead generation, I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, it's gonna, again, there's no way your business will not succeed. After that, there's another part of paid content, which is retargeting and remarketing. What is retargeting and remarketing? Well, when you can reconnect with people who already discovered you but didn't take action. And that means people that visited your website but didn't buy or fill out the form, people that watched the video, they showed interest but didn't reach the call to action, opened an email, they were interested, they just need a little push, or purchase once, and you can remind them of the next natural step. 90% of the work is already done when someone knows you. Retargeting closes the loop. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you gone into Instagram or Facebook to find characteristics of a product you like? Let's see, anybody here in the construction business? Construction business right here, sir. What's your name, sir? Rene. So let's say Rene goes into the Walt. He sees an ad on Facebook, goes into the ad because he wants to know about the characteristics of this particular tool that the Walt is selling him. What happens, let's say he doesn't buy the product. Then he goes out, continues browsing on Facebook, and what happens? 10 different ads of 10 different companies selling the same tool that he was seeing on the wall. Has that happened to you, Rene? Happens all the time. It happened to me a couple of days ago. I was seeing a brand of t-shirts that I like. They were too expensive for me. I got out of the ad, and then I found the same t-shirt, another provider, much cheaper, bought it. Emotional purchase right there. And that happens through retargeting. If you run retargeting campaigns, you will help people continue consuming your content and eventually buying your service and your product much faster than if you only post organic content or paid content. The last pillar that I want to talk to you about is the strategic alliances. You know, you'll see walking around a guy, Oscar Rodriguez. He's a guy that is going in a little broken leg, little motorcycle thing that you see walking around. He's the president, the sales manager for Univision Washington, for example. That's traditional media. Then you have radio, traditional media. You have podcasts, other type of new traditional media. Then you have social media, but you also have influencers. Here in the area, at least we as an agency have alliances with at least 30 different influencers, micro to macro. You can have an influencer with 500 to 2,000 people that are local, that are engaged with them, that might be a lot more valuable than one that has a couple of million. So understanding the audiences of the influencers and the people that can push your brand further is very important. And we put this on the fifth pillar because a lot of people will do that first. They'll open their business, hire an influencer for them to talk about their business. And then what happens there is then you'll need the influencer a lot more than the influencer will need you. And the moment you stop paying that person, that's the moment where you stop getting the fame, you stop getting the clients. That's why if you start on your website, do organic content, do paid content, you make sure you build really good retargeting strategies and then go to the strategic alliances, there's no way you will not succeed on the internet. I usually have a second computer here that tells me the next slide, so that's why I need to keep turning around. So today we're going to focus on 2, 3, and 4, okay? We won't talk a lot about the strategic alliances, we won't talk about website and SEO, even though we do that a lot, but the ones in the middle. Let's talk about organic content. These are the main social media platforms. Who can tell me which one is missing on the screen? So we have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Which one's missing? Which one? Twitter? Yeah, we could say that one, but it's not the most important that is missing. Which other one do you think is missing? And it may be the most important social media platform there ever is. A tip, you might not think it's a social media platform. Again? WhatsApp? That's another great answer. I would definitely say that WhatsApp is a social media right now, but it's not the one that I'm looking for. The one that I'm looking for right now is Google Business. So Google Business, a lot of people don't even see this as a social media profile, but it's one of the most important things you can do today. Why? Because SEO and your website work based on intention. okay? There's a difference between pull and push marketing. Push marketing is what you see on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. You're scrolling, and then you start seeing ads, and then you realize you need that. And okay, I need that. I'm gonna buy that. But when you go to Google, you make a search for a specific thing you need, right? And when you do that, either the Google My Business profile will pop up or your website, or both. If you have a well optimized and set up Google My Business profile, if you do it well, there's 4 different types of results that you can get out of a Google search. On the top is local search ads. You have to pay for that. On the bottom is sponsored ads. You see the little sponsor there. You have to pay for that. And then the third one is the map pack. It's the first 3 results you get out of your map. If you have a well-optimized Google My Business profile, and if you treat it as a social media profile, meaning posting videos, posting photos, doing updates every single day, having your hours of operation, having your different products and services in there, making sure you get reviews of every single time you do a service. I can tell you right now, and talking about social media might not be that good for me, but I can tell you right now that if you do all those things that I'm just telling you, that might generate a lot more revenue than even having a profile on any of the other social media profiles. So I want to invite you today, if you don't have a Google My Business profile, or if you're not paying enough attention to your Google My Business profile, it's going to completely change the way people see you, the way people find you, and the way people perceive you, because it's what will basically give you the reputation on the internet, okay? So let's go back to before posting, all right? So before starting to post on social media, these are 2 things that a lot of people are not doing, is knowing your audience and understanding their buyer's journey, okay? And there's different ways to doing this. On your audience, who can tell me, all right, let me pick any people from this table. Do you guys, any of you have a business? Can you tell me what's your ideal client? I'm gonna ask you here.
Okay. My ideal client is a mixture just because we have different services. But my ideal client, for example, for nails, it would be, let's say her name is Angelica. She is 35 years old. She has extra income outside of her normal job, and she likes getting her nails like natural nails. So she's more of a basic person. Well, not basic, but natural. Let's see what else. She enjoys taking care of herself. So yeah.
Deborah, I want to congratulate you. Let's do. Can you help me give a round of applause for Deborah? Because, a lot of times target audiences are very broad, right? You ask a lot of people, and Oscar will know this. By the way, the person that I was just talking about is sitting on that table. When you ask them, all right, what's this segment, this particular program, or this particular show, caters to, and he'll tell you, well, 35 to 55, Hispanics in Maryland or Virginia. They'll tell you about the target, right? Target is very broad. And what happens when you speak to everyone, you connect with no one. And one great thing you just told me about is you even gave her a name, right? And that's the thing, that's the difference between having a very broad audience and throwing arrows into the sky, hoping one hits a person or a client, and actually knowing your avatar. And that's the difference between having a target versus an avatar, a specific avatar. There's at least 10 different avatars within your target. So if you're talking about, 25 to 35, 25 to 40, and, with extra income that speak Spanish and they live in Maryland, do you know how many different profiles you have within that target? And you have that all of those targets are, although all of those avatars have different ways of making choices, have different pain points, have different circumstances, different problems, and you need to talk to those people in the specific part of the purchase process that they are. For example, Maria, she's 31, first-time home buyer, been saving for 3 years and feels overwhelmed by paperwork. And so you can create, and you can, like Elias was speaking, a couple of hours ago in his 2 presentations, you can use AI to do this. You can ask AI or interview me to help me understand what's my target audience and what are my main 5 avatars, so that you can create a little bit of a more detailed profile for each of your different avatars. So this is target in real estate in the DMV, 25 to 65, English and Spanish, Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., looking to buy a property, either home or investment, stable income, or savings for a down payment. But when we go into avatars, we start going deeper into who they are as people, you know, what their problems are, what do they fear, what keeps them awake at night. Maria is 31 years old, she's single, she's a professional, she lives with roommates in Virginia, she's terrorized, she's very afraid of paperwork, she wants stability to stop paying rent and to build her own wealth. She loves short videos explaining the process step by step in Spanish without technical jargon. She lives in Instagram, TikTok, Google as the final stage. And as you go forward with different avatars, you'll see that every single avatar has a complete way of getting to them, a complete different way of getting to them. So every time you're gonna post a video, an image, or carousel, you're gonna ask yourself, all right, who is this post for? Who am I posting this for? Is this my number 1 avatar, number 3, number 5? Am I doing a broad message? And let me ask you again, who here came through a Facebook ad? Right? Only you? Perfect. 2 people? 3? They're afraid? 4? Okay, their hands are coming up. Well, you all came through segmentation that we made for the chamber to make this event happen. So 90-something% of the people that came here today came through a Facebook ad, because we understand what are your problems, what are you looking for in an event like this, and we helped you consume enough ads through organic, paid, and retargeting, so that you are here today consuming this presentation and everything else you're gonna see today, all right? Let's talk about the customer buyer's journey, and AI can help you determine this too. You have to understand what is the process that a client follows or gets to follow to find you or to need you, okay? First, they find a need, recognize it's a problem. They do a research, either ask friends, go on Google, go on Facebook groups. Then they make a comparison to understand what is the most unique option, what is the best option that they have. They build trust through social proof, through different points of contact. Psychologically, by the way, a person needs at least 10 to 15 points of contact to be able to build trust in a brand. That's why retargeting exists. You consume one video, and after you watch that whole video, then I have a retargeting strategy in place, so that if you watch a full 100% of one of my videos, then I show you the second one, and then the third one. And then you're like, why am I seeing this guy so many times? It's because I designed it that way so that you build trust and then take an action and then buy what I need you to buy. That's how it works. And if you are asking, all right, what different types of content can I make depending on that buyer's journey? Well, discovery, for example, when people don't know you yet. For example, 3 mistakes people make when buying their first home. You are buying your first home. You don't know this person, but you find a video that starts with a person saying 3 mistakes people make when they're buying their first home. You're like, okay, I don't want to make that mistake. Let me watch this. And then you get to know that person, you follow her, you start consuming her content. On the second step, people that already know you, so you need consideration type of content. Example, why I work with first-time home buyers step by step. And then you kind of go deeper into their funnel, and then conversion, free seminar this week, seminar for first-time home buyers. This is something that a lot of real estate agents do. And I'm using the real estate example because it's one of the industries where I see the most competition. There's so many real estate agents, and they usually do the same, and it's very hard to differentiate one from the other, all right? I'm going fast. I promise you, if you have any questions, please write them down. I'll be able to answer them at the end. Okay, so 4 different types of content for a real estate agent. Why I became a real estate agent, personal story, emotional connection, then why buying a home feels so complicated today, so that you can attract Maria, position your authority without selling anything. Then why do I do different and who I've helped, social proof, what makes you unique. And then at the end, free seminar, first time, first home or first investment, clear call to action, capture leads, appointments, and conversations. Of course, this is the more simplified version of this whole funnel. But if you make enough content on all of these different parts of that buyer's journey, you will get leads and you will get sales. That's exactly how it works. And I can tell you, we made this happen in many different industries, you know, from even cattle, like selling meat, to professional services, to cleaning, to construction, to all different types of industries, okay? Now let's move into execution, you know, what to publish, how to produce, and how to distribute. That's one of the most important parts. And to be able to understand what do you have to produce, you first need to understand your business model. Do you sell to consumers? Do you sell to other businesses? Do you sell to government? Here, for example, we have the DC, we have the procurement office, we have some people that sell insurance, you know, paid leave insurance that are part of a government agency. We also have companies that sell directly to the consumer. We as an agency sell to businesses. And depending on your business model, you have to use different ways to sell to each different person. The end consumer, you sell directly to them and they will use your product or your service. When you sell to another business, the decision-making process is more complex. There needs to be a lot more trust in the buying. And then when you do government, there's a lot of compliance into it. You need to have certain certifications. Your business needs to be registered in a specific city. And so all these different types of business models have different ways of selling to them, okay? So B2C and the most common platforms they're in, and what you really want to communicate if you sell to direct consumers, emotional immediate need, product demonstrations in use, social proof like testimonials and review from your Google My Business, for example, experience, aesthetics, lifestyle, live sessions, content, and shopping if applicable. And then you have business to business, which is what we do, you know, authority and proven experience, efficiency and ROI backed numbers. That's what we mostly do. I tend to go to a business owner and tell them, all right, we can get, 300 to 450% return of your investment in 90 days or less with our services. So another business owner will actually connect to that and will consider you, want to build trust from you and eventually buy from you. Deep education about a problem, institutional trust, visible team. And then selling to the government is a lot more complicated. It's still doable. Credibility and track record, compliance, certifications, and everything that you see here. So if you're not in business to government, you are not selling to one person, you are selling to a committee, and your content will circulate inside the company. It's a little more steps, but still doable. All right, we specialize basically on B2B. That's what we do. So in the Google profile, the thing about the Google My Business profile is that you will need this platform for any of the business's models. So that's why I kind of go back to it. Please pay attention to your Google My Business profile. Make sure every single time you're satisfactorily, giving a service to someone, when their emotion is high, happy about their result, ask them for a review. And they will help you to build that trust, build that reputation, and help Google My Business do its thing. How do I determine the content? And I think that's one of the most valuable things that I want to bring to you today. How many of you has asked yourselves at some point, what should I post today? What kind of content? And she's laughing. She's like, oh man, I see this problem. I have this problem every day. There's 3 ways that I want to show you today how you can determine in a matter of minutes what you can post about today or any single day. First thing is frequently asked questions. Okay, if you go to Google right now, regardless of which industry you work in, let's say nails, and you go and say, in Google, you make a search and say, most frequently asked questions in the nails industry, in construction industry, in marketing, in TV, any industry you want, you go to Google and you ask that question. You'll get different results. You will get, the actual list of 10 to 15 questions that people are asking on the internet. You'll also see a section that says related questions that's separated from that. you're also sometimes you'll see that the search bar will finish your question, and that means there's people asking for that. So you can literally go today, ask that question, and build a list of 10 to 15 questions that you can ask yourself. And so if you see that question in Google, it means that people are looking for that. All right. Second part, direct customer feedback. You heard Mauricio saying that on when we're doing lunch, they're going to start giving you surveys. On that survey, there's enough data for us to run ads and creatives for our next event because we'll know what you need. What I want to invite you to do today, every time you talk to a client, every time a potential client comes into your door, ask them how they got to you. Or when they buy your services, what did you do? What happened and what took for you to make the decision to come with me? What was the problem you were having before coming to me? Why did you decide to come with me? After they finish the service, I usually ask them, all right, what was your situation before you got to me? How was the process of working with me? And how do you feel right now after working with me? All that data is extremely usable to do content. And then you're going to have an Excel sheet with 20 to 30 lines of different topics that you can make content of. And that's, whether an image, a carousel, a long form, short form video. And then the outliers and the reverse engineering is one of the ones that we enjoy the most. That's how you make viral content. You can identify the top performers in your industry or in other industries and actually study their content. For construction, you go and go into the Mexican carpenter social media profile and actually reverse engineer what they're doing. You go for their most viral content and see, all right, what kind of hook did he use in this video? How did he talk, about the problem? What problem was he talking about in this video? And then take it, interpret it, don't copy it, interpret it, and make your own type of video. And we made, posts that are, that have 35 million views in a matter of weeks doing that technique, just grabbing ideas, redigesting them and reinterpreting them and actually making that content. So identify outliers, brands, or people who stand out in your industry, research their content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook, detect patterns, which hooks, formats, and topics, adapt concepts to your voice, and combine them with frequently asked questions and customer feedback. So only one idea, let's say you have that document, that idea can become static images, carousel stories, what I just told you. And then you can also use your AI tools to turn all of that content and package it differently so that they go to discovery, consideration, or conversion. Does everything that I've said so far make sense? Am I going too fast? Are we understanding everything? What I love is that I'm not seeing people going into their phones, people sleeping, doing a presentation of seeing people falling asleep is something very nerve-wracking, but I think we're going okay. All right, and another question that people ask me a lot, Nestor, how much should I post? Like how many posts should I post? And the reality is that the game has changed. Before, we used to post 12 posts a month, just one day and then wait for the organic reach of 24 to 48 hours will do its thing. We wouldn't want to taint that post with other posts and then post another one. Today, game has completely changed. The more you post, the more abilities the platform has to discover what is the winning creative so that you can then, replicate it, reuse it, or put money behind it, okay? So I would say that you can post daily, you can post multiple times a day, and then pay attention to the metrics and the metrics that work organically, replicate, put money behind it. More volume, more experiments, multiple posts. The more pieces increase the probability of finding winning content. It depends on the team, quality, and measurement. Yeah, it's basically the same, what I'm saying here. And another very important part of digital marketing is understanding how does your team need to look like. We have a team like this. You need a researcher, right? You need a creative writer. You need a producer, and you need a community manager, okay? All of those can be done by AI. If you know how to configure your AI platforms, if you know how to create agents, for example, this can all be done. I prefer humans. In our agency, we have humans that do this, that rely on certain AI tools, but we use humans for that. The researcher will find opportunities, the creator copywriter will, use the AI, but would actually shape it so that it doesn't sound the same all the time. And there's other little hacks that I'm going to give you in the next couple of slides. Then the production, this is something I do for my agency. I shoot the videos, I shoot the photographies, and then we create those creatives. And then the community manager, which is one of the most undervalued parts of a team. We love our community managers because of what they do, and I'll tell you in a little bit what they do. So this is basically what each of those positions do. I don't want to put a lot of time into those because time's running out. And community manager doesn't only post and answer messages. They can really and research internet, give you ideas, understand, what is, working right now. They can help you clean your algorithm so that, the actual algorithm, the actual platform serves you in a silver tray what you need to post so that more people come to you. So there's different methods that we train our community managers to do this work. So production with distribution does not work. Producción sin distribución no camina. That's something that I say all the time. And that I found out after I worked in Univision. I made very good commercials, and then after I got out of TV and gave those commercials to the clients that were not running them on TV anymore, they wouldn't come back to me because they wouldn't do anything. They wouldn't generate sales or anything. They would just put it on Facebook, YouTube, do nothing, and then my work didn't work. And so, being able to distribute is very important. Like I said at the beginning, breaking that ceiling of that organic reach that platforms will give you is very important. So to use boosting strategies, choosing this is boosting, right? Choosing the posts that have the most organic reach every time you post, and then using those to boost them is very nice. I tend to use $50 to $70, per 15 days or per 20 days, every single month for at least 3 of the posts that are on my social media. That's how I grew my channel. And then you also have other ways of doing paid content, but for the boosting strategies, you can get more profile visits, you can help them go into a link, you can get more content views, and the more you play with those different vehicles, the more you understand the results that they're giving you, and then you can scale those experiments. So let's say you do $70 on a video for 20 days, and you realize you got 200 followers from that. Then you use that same video, and instead of boosting it, you create a lead generation campaign with that same video, or start using it as an ad to start generating more clients. So when you do campaigns on Instagram, on Facebook, or anywhere, the most important thing that you can do to understand is knowing the metrics and the KPIs that will tell you if something is working or not. You can do awareness campaigns, which is what you run for people that don't know who you are. So you make them know you, and it basically pushes your content to the most amount of people possible. And then you look at the CPM, how much does it cost for every 1,000 impressions. And so, it tends to be, depending on how cheap it is, you can continue putting money into there. Like Mauricio, for example, this morning told me, brother, you're making me a celebrity. It's because we're running awareness campaigns for every single event that we do, and more people come and say, I think I saw you on an ad. And that's how you do it, with awareness campaigns. Then you do traffic campaigns. All of you that came here went to an Eventbrite, to the event page to buy the ticket. So you want to, do campaigns, traffic campaigns, so that the ad will actually help you go to the page where you make the purchase and what brings you here. And the other type is conversion. How do you make ads that actually talk about a call to action and bring you to a specific place so you actually make the purchase. A good strategy, a good lead generation strategy has all of these three. And for the traffic, you take care of the CTR, which is the click-through rate, how many people are actually clicking on the ad. Whatever, any click-through rate that is above 1.5, even 2 is great. Anything that's under that, well, you have to change what you're doing. And then the CPA, cost per acquisition, how much does it cost to you to acquire a lead? Let's say that she charges $100, $150 for a set of new nails. But then you realize that the cost per acquisition in your campaign is costing you $75 to $80. It's not worth it. So there's something that needs to be, tweaked within that campaign to bring that CPA down so that you can get leads for much less the amount of, the average ticket that you sell your services for. Does that make sense? All right, getting to the end of this presentation. So retargeting and remarketing is the same thing. You can, set up different types of retargeting campaigns where it's very important because you can, like I said in the beginning, you can, design a series of videos where if people watch more than half of the first one, then the platform will show them the second one, and then the third one. And then you can kind of design a series of videos for people to know you, to consider you, and to buy from you, and use retargeting so those videos are delivered in a specific order. You can do the same thing when you go e-commerce, when you have a website where you're selling a product and people go fill their cart and then they leave. So one of the, with websites, it's very common to do abandoned carts, retargeting campaigns, and you'll basically keep delivering ads until people come back to the website and make the purchase. Open the form, abandoned cart like it says here, and interact it with the profile. Whoever goes into your profile and sees the video, then you show them a lot more content so that they create that trust, okay? Getting close to the last one. I'm gonna jump that. So I wanna make a summary of everything that I've said today. Digital map, understand the 5 pillars, 5 things you need to do to succeed on the internet. Website and SEO, organic content, paid content, retargeting, remarketing, and then talk with some influencers with traditional media and help the brand grow further. Then understand your audience and your different avatars, understand their journey, make content by stage and platform, build a team or design a team with AI. Talk to Elias for that. He'll teach you how to do it. Do distribution, do retargeting, and scale. Make your business bigger. All right, so for my last slide, I want you all to bring out your phone, scan that QR code, and you'll be able to download the digital readiness workbook. It's completely free. What you're gonna do with this is gonna let you fill out at least 40, I think it's 43 questions that are going to paint a very clear picture of where is your business standing today. And it's gonna reveal some voids and things you need to fix today to be able to scale it. After that, you'll have access to a guide that will help you fill those voids, but this is completely free and it's something you can take home today to actually work on your business and help it scale. Thank you for for the time you've taken to watch this presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm more than open to answer them. Thank you. Whew. Well, that's a record. I did it in 42 minutes and went through all those 52 slides. I told you it was going to be long, but I think it's very valuable, and I put my heart and all of my knowledge into that. And I assure you, if you follow it, you're going to get results out of that. So any questions, anything that I can help you understand about your business, anything I can, help you to do, any advices I can give you are more than welcome. Ladies, anyone? Elias, yes?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for all the info.
Thank you. Thank you for saying.
Knowledge related with digital marketing, because it's very difficult to understand. So my question is, in my case, I'm focused on 2 main platforms. LinkedIn is one of those because my business has been shifting in the last couple of years to a lot of AI, the stuff that I talked about
Mm-hmm.
an hour later, before on. So my main focus is LinkedIn. And the second one, which is I've been working a lot, is YouTube. And I took those platforms and I think everything related in terms of digital to that, and then I repurpose everything because I don't have much time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because my business is mostly consultancy, at the end of the day with
Yeah.
business to business or B2C or B2B. Do you think that it is better for like a business like me to focus on those two main platforms because one is professional, profile and the other one more a little bit of everything? Or do you think it's and repurpose from them or maybe to add something else in that strategy?
Sure. Thank you for that question, Elias, and thank you for staying. You basically talked for 2.5 hours, and then you're still here, paying attention and still awake. So thank you. Well, I think that the strategy you're doing right now is very good. Doing long form. I guess when you say YouTube, it means you're doing long form in YouTube,
Yeah.
and then repurposing that, making clips, making shorts out of that to bring them to LinkedIn. So that's a great strategy, and a lot of people and a lot of companies scale very fast. The amount of content that you put in YouTube is very important. I would post 2 to 3 long form videos a week on your YouTube channel. And then out of that, doing a lot of repurposing, doing a lot of shorts and understanding what is the organic reach behind that and understanding, determining patterns that people are following. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do other platforms. It all comes down to how much have you studied your ideal client, your different avatars. Because if some of those avatars are spending time on any of the other platforms, why not try them? Like, to this day, Facebook is the platform that generates the most revenue on the internet. And so I always laugh because my nephews, 117 and 112, always tell me an old man call me an old man because I'm on Facebook. And it's like, bro, you have no idea how much money, Facebook pays to streamers, how much money Meta makes from Facebook, much more than Instagram. And so in Facebook, you have millennials, like older millennials like myself, you have Generation X, and you even have baby boomers. You have a lot of groups of specialized trades and professions where you can find a lot of that people. And the other thing is that Facebook also favors long form. So the same type of videos that you're posting on YouTube, you can bring to Facebook, do the same strategy on Facebook. It's going to welcome the long form and it's going to give you access to another audiences that you might not be finding on YouTube. Like LinkedIn, there's this thing called social selling on LinkedIn, because as you may know, buying leads in LinkedIn is pretty expensive. They're not as cheap as any other platforms. But there's a service called social selling, where you have different platforms like Octopus and different CRMs where you can choose a specific profile of a company, a specific position within that company, which would be the decision maker. And you can send automatically up to 10 messages a day so you don't get flagged as spam, which means 50 messages a week to people, completely automated, a very well-designed, well-thought-of message so that you can actually try to book calls and presentations with those people. I've made documentaries through social selling in LinkedIn. I got connected to El Tiempo Latino, to Giant, to a bunch of different big brands through social selling on LinkedIn. So I will tell you to also, test a little bit with that. Does that work? Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
Very good insight.
Thank you, man. Any other questions? Is anybody hungry in here? All right. Thank you again for coming. Let's go eat. Let's go to the next room, and then we'll have a keynote speech over there. And if you're interested in this same presentation, but in Spanish, I'll be here at 1 p.m. Thank you for coming again. Yes.
My name is Kaylor. Nice to meet you. I have a
Oh,
question.
I like that name.
Thank you.
How do you pronounce it?
Kaylor.
Kaylor. Oh my God, I love it.
Thank you. So I have a question for
Yes.
my business. So
Mhm.
my business is Sit and Sweet, and I sell desserts, mainly right now cookies with organic, clean label ingredients.
Okay.
So instead of sugar, I use monk fruit and coconut sugar,
I love
which has
that.
low glycemic index.
Yes.
So my question for you in terms of social media, I'm trying to go against the grain of like educating people and my customers about the things that are putting in their body.
Yes.
Is there such a thing as like too much education?
No, there is not.
Okay. Why do you? Can you?
Because what you do and the characteristics of your products are very important for the health of the people.
Yes.
And I think if you package that information on different areas, like using organic, the risks of eating too much sugar,
Yeah.
like reviewing cookies and other cookies that are on the market and telling people how much sugar there is on them,
Yeah.
like showing studies of how like there's no end to what I could do with food that has the benefits of what you're doing. So I don't think there's enough education, but I do think that you should design your buyer's journey so that yes, you educate them a lot, but then you have other types of content where you're actually bringing them further down the funnel and saying, all right, I already told you about this educational part, but now I want to teach you about why this cookie, it's going to give you more fulfillment, it's going to make you happier, it's going to be better for you health-wise. And then at the end, it's like, all right, so my cookies are usually $10 per two. For this month, I'm giving away, 5 cookies for $7. Okay, and so you educate me, you make me consider you because you tell me that your cookie is different from everything else you've been telling me, and then you create irresistible offer in a period of time that it makes my purchase emotional, like the ones I made with the shirt. All right, if I don't buy these 5 cookies right now, I'm not going to be able to do it in the future. I'm going to have to spend twice as money. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I think you should do a lot more educational content, but also design your funnel so that you have more different types of content and people end up coming to you. All right. Can you wait until I answer a couple of questions so I can follow your account
Yeah,
and kind of follow your journey too?
Yes.
Very. Thank you for that question, Kaylor.
How you doing?
Good, Manuel, cuéntame, hermano.
¿Cómo está?
Todo bien.
Los slides, creo que mencionó que los
Sí,
puedo-
sígame, búscame en Instagram, Néstor Bravo.
Ok.
Vas a ver que se llama El Nestornillador. Sígame ahí, mándame un mensaje y yo te mando el link para que los tengas, hermano.
So,
¿Te parece?
yeah, muchas gracias. So, mi negocio es nuevo.
Okay.
So, lo voy a decir en inglés.
Please, go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
My,
I just saw your name and
no,
said,
no, it's
I'm
fine.
going to
I've
do
been
Spanish.
trying to practice my Spanish a little bit more. So, anyways, I just got a Facebook page.
Okay.
And I'm going to start building it this weekend.
What's your
But
business about?
It's consulting, cybersecurity, and human capital, HR.
Okay.
So, targeting like other small businesses that need like services,
Yeah.
consulting, things like
Yeah.
that. So what do you recommend? How should I start building?
Do you have a
this
LinkedIn
thing?
page?
I do.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
Not yet.
Do you kind of hear a little bit of what I told to So I think, Facebook, you'll find business owners there. But I think you need to be in all those three and kind of, have you studied your customer? Have you studied, well, it's starting, but have you made any studies to understand what your target audience and what your avatars are?
Yeah,
So-
I'm targeting more the like small government contractors that need like compliance, cyber compliance.
All right, so again, so when I talked about target, that's very wide. So you can sit down with your ChatGPT and tell them, all right, I got this new business. This is my target, but I need you to help me understand better my target and actually generate different avatars so that you can create and actually build a content strategy for each of those types of people that need your services. And then the more long form content that you make on YouTube and on Facebook, like I told him, it's going to allow you to do more clips. And that's going to take a lot less energy than creating all these, huge amount of posts. You make long form content talking about the problems that those avatars have. Let's say you do one video a week, one 10 to 15-minute video a week talking to each of those persons separately. And then you start extracting with you can use an app called Opus Clips. And then you start extracting the very best parts of those long forms, make shorts, and publish them in LinkedIn and Facebook and on YouTube. I think that's the best way to start. And then you start studying your metrics and understanding how you can get to more people, where to put your money, and it's very easy for you to get there. And you know, if you follow me and ask me for those slides, we can stay in contact and I can help you maybe develop some ideas and without having to charge. And I like to help in that matter, especially if you're just starting. So my goal is helping entrepreneurs to become them, you know, help them become empresarios so that at some point, you know, they can work with me. So does that work?
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Manuel. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for staying around, man. I appreciate it. Hola, Claudia, ¿cómo estás? Ya yo sabía que tú eras Claudia.
Sí, qué
Ya eras
bueno,
Claudia.
qué bueno.
Y entonces, ¿qué tal? ¿Les gustó la presentación?
Sí, muy bien, very
Para ser vendedores no estaban en su teléfono, qué maravilla. Yo estaba contento. Dice, mira, tengo estos dos que siempre están en el teléfono y me están prestando atención.
No, no,
¿Sí?
muy interesante.
¿Les gustó? Qué bueno, me encanta. Bueno, yo estoy todo el tiempo
Ya tienes mi
en
correo
eso.
electrónico ahí,
Claro que
pero-
sí. Ya tú me habías mandado un correo, ¿verdad?
Sí,
Ya le estaba comentando a Oscar que íbamos a retomar eso. Estoy haciendo una nueva versión del anuncio y ya volveremos. Lo prometo.
Ya sabes, aquí estamos a la orden.
Claro que
listos.
sí. Gracias, de verdad, gracias por quedarse. Significa mucho que tenga. Yo hablé de ti al principio y hablaba de los medios tradicionales y todo eso. So, gracias por sticking around. Guys, thank you. Appreciate it,
Un placer.
Oscar. Don't go too fast in that thing. Gracias, Claudia. Cuídate. Feliz tarde. ¿Cómo le va, amigo? ¿Todo bien? Ya va, estoy guardándome una cosita.
¿Una de sus tarjetas?
No le tengo, pero lo que sí tengo es una tarjeta digital. ¿Tiene su teléfono con usted?
Sí.
Ah, le decía, ¿dónde está mi teléfono? Déjame buscar lo que está aquí grabando todavía.